This is going to be a crazy and insane video because this is the top 10 people who survived the impossible. So it's going to be crazy. I don't know how else to explain it, so we're just going to get into this video right now.
Allow it! Ah!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sidemen React.
It sounded a bit weird for some reason.
And
I don't know if it
was. And today we are watching the top 10 people who survived the impossible.
Yep.
Oh, Ethan, you could be on this list, mate.
To be fair, I should have a broken
When
neck.
you crawled into the end of a bowling alley and we lost the footage of it, and you got hit by
I've
the
nearly lost
barrier.
my neck many times, you know.
It actually annoys me so much they don't have that footage because I don't think
I know.
anyone will ever understand when we say like, oh yeah, the thing hit him in the neck. Like
This top 5 moments. Like,
Oh,
but it did. I should have a broken neck by now. Anyway, we're starting off in a TV shop.
Things can happen when you're not careful. We know this from experience
Oh,
because
no.
we just made a video about the unluckiest people in the world, and
Oh,
man,
no.
can things go wrong fast. We're flipping the script today to look at people who survived the impossible.
Oh, God.
Subscribe to join the Cool Cats Club, as only 12% of you watching are in it. We're super exclusive, you know. On to number 10. Some say lightning never strikes the same place twice, but 62-year-old Melvin Roberts begs to differ because he's been struck 11 different times in his life.
Jesus.
No, this isn't one of those terrible spammy Facebook ad stories. He actually has medical records to prove it.
Jesus.
After each strike, the doctors tending to him realize that it seems to actually be true. You could even see on his body where each lightning bolt struck.
Oh
the
my
effects of this
God.
are just as interesting, with Roberts saying,
Well, it's
Sorry.
like being in a microwave.
That'd be funny. No.
Look, let's not
Only
debate.
JTGF knows that. Only
The guy's
JTGF
been
knows
through
that, that's fine.
true say. This guy's been through a lot.
11 times.
Yeah.
How unlucky do you have to be smited down?
What did he do? And how's he alive?
Didn't they just say that? Like they just did a video called "The Most Unlucky People" or something like that.
Yeah,
Surely he
Oh,
should have
no,
been
no,
on
no.
this.
Yeah.
No,
They said it kills you from inside out.
Why are you laughing?
You can't taste anything for days and days.
COVID.
Tastes like sulfur,
Yeah.
like burnt matches.
it's pretty crazy having to
Wait,
eat
she
any
said it
food and it
tastes like
all
sulfur.
tastes like burning candles.
Oh my
Pretty
God.
weird how lightning does that to you. I feel bad for the guy, but thankfully the effect is only temporary.
I'm laughing because he's still here, and he's still talking about it being in a microwave.
Here's my thing. So, okay, you get struck by lightning. Like, ow, that was really painful. I'm microwaved, I'm burning from the inside. Then you're out in another thunderstorm, and you get struck by lightning again. It's really painful. It feels like you're burning inside. So surely the third time there's a thunderstorm, you're just gonna go somewhere inside. You
You said
think?
the third time, bro.
Bro, it's happening.
That's 11.
Yeah, I know, but like he's talking about like if that was,
Why?
you know,
How?
like.
By the 5th, I would be like, I'm not going outside.
What if it's the world telling him he's a superhero, and he's the chosen one to have
And he's the
power?
chosen
What if
one.
he is like Electabuzz of human form?
I'm just compared him to a
Buzz.
Pokemon.
On to explain that for the most of these strikes, he was under different circumstances each time. Sometimes he was struck in sunlight, sometimes he was out mowing the lawn on a rainy day.
Right. I mean, look.
I mean-
Lightning are so
Metal
low that you have more
car.
chance of a plane crashing into your house, and that's just for one lightning strike. Roberts has been struck 11 times and yet has still survived what most of us would consider pretty impossible. Number 9. So it was just another day on the job for this blue-collar worker, Dante Attulo. He was performing routine construction as usual when his automatic nail gun recoiled unexpectedly into his head. Well, the nail actually got stuck inside his skull. The craziest part of all this, though, is that he was completely oblivious to it happening. Yeah, he had no idea it happened. He just sucked it up, kept on working without thinking twice, all the while having a 3.5-inch nail embedded in his brain. Talk about toughing out a shift. He kept it like this for about a day and a half before beginning to feel nauseous and then eventually heading to the hospital. Astonishingly, the nail didn't seem to do any real damage, so it explains why he was able to just continue living life like—
Bro, what do you mean?
I'm actually like, I'm kind of speechless.
Bro, you got a nail in your head, bro.
A whole nail.
Imagine having 3 inches inside. Pause.
Oh, come on.
I'm truly amazed that he managed to not only live through this, but to even brush it off like a minor scrape. Look at the size of the nail on the X-ray.
How
It does
is it?
seem a little odd to want to
like,
have that as a
how
trophy,
far
but
that's
to be
gone
honest, if
into
this
his head.
happened to me, I'd probably want to show it off too. Rolling into number 8 kind of reminds me of the Polar Plunge Challenge, but taken to the most extreme level. Anna Bugenholm, at the age of 29, was skiing down the mountains along friends in Narvik, Norway, when suddenly she plummeted headfirst into a patch of ice along a frozen stream.
It's not.
She was instantly trapped underneath the ice, and her friends struggled to get her out with no avail. Luckily, during this time, Anna found a small air pocket that kept her alive, but after 40 minutes, her heart wasn't able to pump anymore. By this point, her heart had stopped working and she became extremely pale, but an incredible timing had a rescue team smashing up the ice to rescue her. With how long she was down there, it's pretty surprising that she was able to survive this at all. Especially considering that the lowest temperature a human body is supposed to handle is 25 degrees Celsius, and Anna was far below that. She was essentially frozen in time, with her body suffering from major hypothermia and temperatures reading at an icy 13.7 degrees Celsius and 56.7 degrees Fahrenheit.
Or it was chirotherapy. Think
about my.
I mean, we haven't learned how
realistically, she's just had the best recovery of her life.
That is pretty much colder than anything you can imagine for the human body, and at the time was actually recorded as the record for the lowest body temperature of a living person. Miraculously, after 12 days of using a heart-lung machine to try to get her heart working on its own again, Anna actually managed to wake up and has made a full recovery in the years that followed that horrific incident. Number 7. Let me introduce you to Aaron Ralston, who was, well, quite literally stuck between a rock and a hard place. At the time, 27-year-old Ralston was enjoying
they made a movie on this, isn't
27 hours. 120, is that what it's called? It's called 127 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that the
127 or 172? It's one of them.
Narrow canyons of Utah, when out of nowhere a boulder became dislodged and fell onto him. His arm was stuck between the boulder and the canyon wall, and very quickly Aaron realized he was completely trapped. He was pinned without a cell phone or any other means of communication, and he had no hope of being saved. He did, however, have a camera, which became somewhat of a saving grace for him. With this camera, he recorded his last testament to the world. In an outpour of love for his family, he documented the whole thing, which thankfully gave him the strength to continue on.
Dang.
After somehow surviving for over 5 days and trying many different approaches to break free from the boulder, Ralston decided that he had only one option left to survive, to cut off his arm. So of course, with that being his only hope, he went through with it. Through sheer willpower and logical thought, he even managed to climb out of the canyon one-handed before being rescued by a helicopter search team sent by his family. It just goes to show that you can survive against all odds even when you hit rock bottom literally. The story was so amazing that it was even turned into a movie directed by Danny Boyle called 127 Hours. Franco played Aaron, which led to an Oscar nomination. Number 6. One of my biggest fears is being stuck in the middle of the deep sea with nothing around you for hundreds of miles.
Terrifying.
Here's the thing, this guy somehow managed to live through something maybe even more terrifying. Harrison O'Keene was sailing alongside his shipmates in a tugboat when it randomly capsized and sank 100 feet below the ocean's surface. Luckily, O'Keene found a tiny air pocket under the water, which was inside of a bathroom in the ship. He actually survived down there in that air pocket for 60 hours before a search team eventually came across him while checking the waters for the downed ship. Thankfully, they managed to rescue him before carbon monoxide poisoning set in or the oxygen in the air pocket ran out. Regardless of how he survived such a traumatic experience, we hope that O'Keene counts his lucky stars and keeps as far away from the ocean as he can. Heading into number 5, we have a group of survivors who beat all the odds after some truly horrific events following a plane crash in the Andes Mountains back in 1972. It was already a bad sign that they crashed on top of a mountain, but to go even further, they crashed with absolutely no food on board. This meant that their only option to survive in these unforgiving mountains was to resort to eating the deceased bodies of their
The thing is, you would, innit?
You got it.
I'm not gonna lie. If we got a PJ somewhere and it crashed on a mountain.
Whoa!
I mean,
I didn't say I was bringing you into it.
You said we.
I did say we.
You said we.
I'm inside. I'm eating the biggest one.
In the Sidemen.
Yeah, but I'm eating the biggest one.
And you survive. Yeah. You won't eat me because I'm pretty.
But in the Sidemen show, if you guys remember watching that, Ethan, granted, this was a couple years ago, but Ethan said, I would offer up my body for you guys.
We gotta eat one of us. Who are you eating?
Oh, well, I volunteer myself. I reckon you can eat me.
Okay,
I'll
volunteer yourself.
I will provide you with life forever. Knowing that I did that for my friends, I'll take the L.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very noble.
No, there's some dodgy places we're not eating.
No, you're not eating my unless you want to.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm pretty.
You might be
No
useless.
point.
Yeah, you
Yes,
might.
I think you should give me a proper burial.
It's almost unthinkable what these poor people had to endure, and no one should ever have to go through something like this. These guys even made agreements between each other that if one of them passed, they wanted the others to use their bodies, so at least someone had a chance to make it back to their family. Don't get me wrong, I'm not romanticizing the situation, but it's kind of beautiful that these guys had such tight bonds with each other, even despite the circumstances. After dealing with the situation for 61 days, two of the boys journeyed off to find a Chilean farmer after 10 more days of searching. Helicopters arrived shortly after, and the remaining 14 survivors were saved. Number 4.
Sorry, 1 second. I've got questions. Why after 61 days did they realise they can walk to get help? They wanted to eat their mates, bro. They wanted to do it.
Maybe a bunch of them all walked off anyway.
Bro, there's 2 months of eating your powers, bro.
Yeah, but they don't know which way to go. Is the point?
To find
Just walk
anything
them.
anyone.
5 of them might have walked off east, and they've just disappeared now. They died because they walked off and there was nothing that way. So then they had to walk specifically like northwest, something, whatever.
I think they eyed him up on the plane, bro, and they said, "I'm eating you. You look tasty."
I don't know about that one.
Where we're just plummeting to the earth with no way of stopping ourselves before inevitably hitting the ground, but typically we wake up before we hit it. Unfortunately, in the case of 51-year-old Craig Stapleton, this was less of a dream and more of a living nightmare. After attempting to perform a flag release stunt, his parachute malfunctioned and he was left scrambling to save his own life.
I know someone
That's Craig Stapleton jumping with his parachuting partner Katie.
That was a
part
load
of
of
a
bull, didn't
practice
it?
run testing their new flag stunt.
No, but as in their
You see
parachute didn't
proud
open at
American
all.
flag there.
Oh no.
The reserve didn't either.
Exhilarated by their jump.
Yeah.
By the sounds of it, it seems he couldn't catch a break, even when exiting the plane for the jump. After having done this same stunt multiple times and completing over 700 jumps, I could definitely understand his frustration here. But with the gravity of the situation changing from a botched jump to a life-threatening fall from the sky, his mentality did change rather quickly. With his life flashing before his eyes, he was all the more relieved when he had the most extremely lucky break of his entire life, literally. Stapleton had fortunately dropped into some shockingly soft, freshly plowed dirt that absorbed most of the fall.
Oh
now,
my
he did
God.
suffer from a dislocated shoulder along with some other minor injuries, but
Vic,
a small price.
you've become off more damage from a jump.
Yeah, I was about a metre off the ground. I'm kind of pissed.
Bro, this done.
This guy fell from a plane and confirmed it.
You broke your shoulder, right?
Yeah, I broke my collarbone.
Yeah,
He dislocated his shoulder.
I'm fuming. I would have taken the dislocation.
Oh, this don's built different.
Price to pay to survive 8,000-foot drop.
Oh my.
Don't piss me off.
God.
Don't piss me off.
Don't
Twister
piss me
or
off.
The Wizard of Oz, then you're probably well aware of the massive damage a tornado can cause.
Yeah.
In the good old Midwest, and more specifically Missouri, these windstorms happen constantly and have the capability to wreak havoc on rural communities.
See the people that just chase them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, alright, so say hypothetically, fellas, you could get dragged up into a tornado and you was guaranteed to return safely and fine. Would you do it?
Obviously.
Yeah. Bro,
What do you mean, obviously?
I don't know why, but since a kid, I've wanted to be in a tornado, bro. And I think it's Wizard of Oz has done it. I think it's Wizard of Oz that did it.
Yeah, it's the like.
And you see everything.
A very fake image of what you're looking at. What's gonna happen to you? You think you're gonna literally just spin around? And
Yeah.
I'm just spinning around.
And that's not what's gonna happen.
One of the extremely dangerous natural disasters. 19-year-old Matthew Suter was taking some time off college to visit his grandma in Fordland, Missouri, when one of these windstorms began to form. He quickly began shutting windows in an attempt to protect his grandma until he was literally swept up by the winds of the cyclone itself. The worst part is, Matt was only in his underwear when he was thrown into the sky by a raging storm.
I don't know if
that
that's the
ragdolled
worst
him
part.
Yeah.
I think the worst part
air.
is being in a tornado.
As he was
Yeah.
pulled higher into the sky, the air around him became too thin and he eventually passed out from lack of oxygen. Miraculously, he later woke up in an open field about 1,300 feet from where he left his grandmother's trailer.
Jeez.
Even more amazingly, he only had a couple of cuts and bruises from his wild ride on nature's merry-go-round. Number 2.
Well, nature's
Numerous
merry-go-round.
commercials that speak out against drinking and driving.
Do you reckon he thought it was a
Carlos
dream, by the way?
Rodriguez and his horrific.
Maybe could have.
Whoa.
He's literally woken up in his underwear in a field.
Bro, one sec. Vic, I know where you said whoa.
Yeah.
This guy's a head fam.
Whoa.
Well, Carlos Rodriguez and his horrific experience is a living example of exactly why you should never do it. This incident happened when 14-year-old Carlos was drunk and got behind the wheel of a car. Unfortunately, this led to him crashing into a pole, going through the windshield and landing face first onto the pavement.
Oh my God.
The impact shattered half his skull and gave paramedics very little to work with, but he was ultimately able to pull through and change his life for the better because of it. For Carlos, he's done that by using his story as a means to sway kids away from using drugs and alcohol. And finally, at number 1, we have some amazing innovation on display from Emile Leray. He's a French electrician who was touring Morocco. He had gone there in hopes to trek across the Sahara Desert, but was stopped at a military outpost along the main road. He was told to turn back immediately, but it didn't dissuade the French tourist from sneaking back into the desert while off-roading in his car. Here's where things get sticky. The worst thing happened to him. His car broke down. Can you take a guess where? Yeah, so now he's left isolated in the desert, and Emile needed to figure out what was necessary to ensure his survival.
Well, this is Jumanji.
If this were me, I probably would have gone into full panic mode, but Mr. Ray managed to keep a calm head and started formulating a plan. After rationing his food and water consumption, he realized there was no possible way he could make it to civilization on foot, and that's when it dawned on him. After spending loads of time perfecting his new hybrid vehicle, he rode his motorbike across the desert and made it back to society.
What?
Now, sadly for him, he did face a pretty sizable fine when he did get back, as his vehicle didn't meet road safety standards, but I have a feeling he didn't really care.
Yeah, I was like, you're alive. I even wouldn't care either. I'd be like,
that's huge from him.
Just want to throw it out there. I'm impressed with all those people.
Me too.
Even though some of them didn't actually do anything.
Actually, toilet head. I'm impressed with the way you turn your life around, but not impressed with the fact that you got a toilet head. Because the fact that you got a toilet head is punishment for being an idiot. So,
right, right then.
Alright, thanks
Ethan,
for watching. Peace.
Why? God, I don't even know what, like, in a lot of these situations, I don't even know what the hell I would do. Like, I legit have no idea. Like, nothing. I've got nothing. Like, like, I'm pretty sure I would just, like, either panic or just, like, take me now, Lord. Like, just let it be quick and over with. You know, kind of thing. Like, oh, man. But, yeah. I mean, sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm struggling today. I don't know why, but But it is, I do respect the people. Like, damn. Like, I respect you. Like, that's crazy. Like, oh my God. But other than that, hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'll see all you beautiful, wonderful people in my next video. Alright? Bye.